Hey guys, so I got question 2 this week. So it is a very long multi-step question. Ooh. So, this is our equation. 3x cubed minus 18x squared plus 9 plus... Not plus 9x plus 30, sorry. The first part of the question is list the leading coefficient and the degree of the polynomial. So, the leading coefficient is the coefficient with the highest power. So whichever one has the highest power to it. So 3x cubed is our highest power. So our leading coefficient is going to be 3. Okay. So we need to find the degree of the polynomial next. And the degree of the polynomial is the highest power of x as well. So that is also going to be 3. Alright, part B. What is the maximum number of turning points in the graph of the polynomial? So, in order to find it, the maximum number of turning points is going to be n minus 1. N equaling your degree. So, you're going to have 3 minus 1 equals 2. So your maximum number of turning points is going to be 2. What is the end behavior of the graph of the polynomial? So the degree is odd, and the leading coefficient is positive, because both answers are 3. So the behavior is going to be as x is negative infinity, then p of x is in negative infinity as well. And then it's gonna be inverted as well. So you'll also have as x is infinity, p of x is also infinity. Okay. Part D, use Descartes' rule of signs. How many positive real zeros and how many negative real zeros should be expected? So you have to examine the sign changes for p of x to find the positive real zeros. So there are... How many sign changes are there? It looks like there's 2. Okay. There are 2 sign changes from +3 and -18. And then, yeah, so in this, we've got 1 negative right here. Everything else is positive, so that's your 2. Okay, so there are 2 positive real zeros. Okay, for part E, list the possible rational zeros of the function. Okay. So for that, you're going to find all your factors of 30. And all your factors of 3. Okay. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, 30. Those are the ones that I just know off the top of my head. And then you'll also have any of your fractions that will also factor to 3 or 30. And these are all going to be plus or minus, right? These are all going to be plus or minus. Okay. All right. Part F, use synthetic division to determine the first rational zero. Repeat this unit. The quotient is a quadratic expression. Then factor to find the remaining zeros of the function. List the multiplicity of each zero. Okay. So we're going to start with x equals -1. Okay, so we're going to plug the -1 in for each. I'm really bad at synthetic division, so I apologize in advance. I'm going to skip this one and come back to it. Okay. Write the zeros as x-intercepts and state whether each is a touch point or a cross point. So all of the zeros all of your zeros are going to have an odd multiplicity. So they are all going to be cross points. So you're going to have points like -1, 0, 2, 0. Sorry, my iPad reoriented. 3, 0. 5, 0, and so on and so on and so on. Like that. Okay. We must determine the y-intercept. So, the y-intercept of this messy equation. You need the y-intercept for that. So, the y-intercept only occurs when x equals 0. So you're going to set x equal to 0 and solve the equation. So, after doing that, all of your x's... Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see that. So, this is going to cancel because 3 times 0, the power of 3 is 0. And 18 times 0 squared is 0. 9 times 0 is 0. So you're just going to be left with 30. So you're going to have x equals 0 plus 30. Or 30. Well, I guess there is no x. Ignore the x. Your equation's going to be 30. So your intercept is going to be 0, 30. Alright. Now it wants us to sketch the graph of the function. So I'm going to start a new note here and add a grid. Okay, so there's my grid with my x and y. Okay, so we know our y-intercept is going to be 0, 30. For the sake of this, we're just going to say that 0, 30 is right here. Sorry, I got a phone call. 0, 30 is going to be right there, okay? Alright, so the graph will cross the x-axis at any of those cross points that we chose. So we're going to have negative 1, 0. We'll have 2, 0. We'll have 5, 0. And so on and so on and so on. Okay. And there will be at most 2 turning points for this graph, right? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of what this line would look like. We're going to go with that. That's what the line would look like. And all right, yeah, that's it.